Matt Lauer accuser Brooke Nevils details alleged 2014 rape. It hurt to walk. It hurt to sit. It hurt to remember. Nevils filed a complaint against Lauer in 2017 that led to his firing, alleging that he had anally raped her in a hotel room during the 2014 Winter Olympics. Brooke Nevils, who accused Matt Lauer of rape, is sharing more about her story. In an excerpt of her upcoming memoir published by The Cut on January 28th, Nevils recalled the details of her sexual encounters with a former Today Show anchor who was fired in 2017 after she reported his alleged assault that took place in 2014 during the Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. Nevils' memoir, Unspeakable Things, Silence, Shame, and the Stories We Choose to Believe, is out February 3rd and explores the aftermath of her headline-making ordeal. I have spent a long years since using my otherwise abandoned skills as a journalist to report and write the book about sexual harassment and assault that I wish had existed for me, she wrote in the excerpt shared by The Cut. People has reached out to Lauer and NBC for comment. When the rape allegations surfaced, NBC said in a statement, Matt Lauer's conduct was appalling, horrific, and reprehensible, as we said at the time. That's why he was fired within 24 hours of us first learning of the complaint. Our hearts break again for our colleague. The excerpt begins by revisiting the night that led to the alleged rape. She was at the bar with Today's co-anchor Meredith Vieira when Lauer, now 68, joined. She later went to his hotel room where she was drunk and alone with Matt Lauer, insisting on having anal sex, she wrote. Neville said she woke up the morning after the first assault to find her underwear and the sheet beneath me caked with blood, and she said the pain was undeniable. She wrote, It hurt to walk. It hurt to sit. It hurt to remember. In the essay, Neville said that at the time, before she later would accuse him of rape, she would never have used the word rape to describe what had happened. Even now, I hear rape and think of mass strangers in dark alleys. Back then, I had no idea what to call what happened other than weird and humiliating. In 2019, Lauer denied raping Nevils in a lengthy letter to Variety. She recounts Lauer ignoring her attempts to speak about what happened before they left Russia. On their final night in Sochi, Neville said she used my NBC burner phone to call Matt's NBC burner phone, and he told her, Come see me when we're back in New York. She said when they were back in the city, he was sorry. He hadn't replied to her emails asking to talk, but he said, If I wanted, I could come to his apartment that night. The look on his face was pleased, flattered, almost boyish. To him, apparently, those emails had been a proposition, another opportunity. I was just relieved he wasn't mad. At his apartment, they had another sexual encounter. But beforehand, he ducks out of the room and then returns, carrying an armful of towels. She writes, Just in case, he says generously, because of what happened last time. The implications of this radiate through me. What happened last time could only have been the blood. He saw it in Sochi. He has known about it all along. It was not a mistake. It was not a misunderstanding. And then afterward, after he'd seen the blood, he'd asked me if I liked it, and I had been so broken and humiliated and desperate to please him that I'd said, yes. But that was then. Why would he have towels now? Nevils recalled a repeated pattern of Lauer having sexual intercourse with her, and when she asked why he preferred anal sex during her first visit to his New York City apartment, he said, I like it because it's transgressive. She said there were for more instances of alleged inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace, as NBC News later characterized it, including one encounter I even initiated, thinking that this would be the time I took back control. But I never did. I just implicated myself in my own abuse. She admitted that there's a question I've been asked too many times to count, including by Matt himself, which is, why? If an alleged victim was really sexually assaulted, would they continue a relationship with the perpetrator? Why would they go back? She explained that it was her pre-existing relationship with Lauer. She had worked as a page at NBC and later worked in the Today Show green room. That made her much less likely to immediately recognize it as an assault. I have to consider not only whether anyone will believe me, but how the allegation will impact everyone else in my life. If that means losing a job, a church, a school, or a part of my family, then that's all the more reason to convince myself that it wasn't a sexual assault in the first place, she wrote. The abuse is a known quantity that the victim has already survived, but the consequences of confronting or reporting the abuser are unknowable and therefore much more terrifying. Until I reported Matt, I probably told about 10 or 12 people sanitized, idealized versions of what happened, never suggesting that it had been anything other than my choice. Nevils continued. She said after telling friends her faces would go pale. They advised her she had to get out of NBC. It would take years and a national reckoning with sexual harassment and assault before I called what happened to me assault, she wrote. When she learned that at least 2 teams of reporters from 2 different publications, Variety and The Times, were looking into Lauer, she said she knew it was a matter of time before her experiences came to light, and she had no idea what to do. I was no Ashley Judd or Gretchen Carlson. I was just one woman and nobody's ideal victim. I'd done everything wrong, and if it had taken 5 women coming forward with allegations against Mark Halperin, at least 6 for Bill O'Reilly, at least 7 for Roger Ailes, how many women would have to come forward about Matt Lauer before any would be believed? She remembered thinking. She decided to file the complaint, believing it would remain confidential. Lauer was questioned the next day and fired by NBC News chairman Andrew Lack that night. A slew of other allegations against Matt were published by Variety and The Times the next day, and reporters began contacting Nevils personally. She took a leave of absence from NBC, where she had been working as a primetime news producer, which would ultimately prove permanent. I barely recognized the train wreck I'd become, she said at the time after she reported the complaint. I was compulsive, paranoid, and drinking all the time. I felt I'd ruined everything, hurt and embarrassed everyone I loved. Soon I would find myself in a psych ward, believing myself so worthless and damaged that the world would be better off without me. After Nevils filed a complaint against Lauer and he was fired, several other women came forward with allegations against him. Lauer's wife of 19 years, Annette Roque, with whom he shares his 3 kids, filed for divorce. He broke his silence on the allegations in a statement that was read by his former colleagues on air, in which he said, "Some of what is being said about me is untrue or mischaracterized, but there is enough truth in these stories to make me feel embarrassed and ashamed." Nevils shared her experiences in Ronan Farrow's Catch and Kill, Lies, Spies, and a Conspiracy to Protect Predators in 2019, and Lauer told Variety in a statement that he had an extramarital affair with Nevils but maintained that everything was completely consensual, denying her allegations of rape. Today, Nevils says she has painstakingly rebuilt her life and is married with 2 kids. "Every moment with my family is a precious piece of the life that I once believed I no longer deserved to live," she wrote. She ended her essay by speaking directly at others who are trapped in the same impossible situation I once was. "I know what it is to feel truly alone and ashamed, living a life that seems irredeemable, believing yourself to be worthless and unlovable. Not one of these things, for any one of us, is ever true